Question number 5. Mercia Chocolates produces gourmet chocolate products. It can produce 90,000 packages a year, so it has 90,000 package capacity, but it only produces 60,000 packages. 45,000 of those packages goes to Vern's, and 15,000 goes to Mega Stores. There's variable manufacturing costs for $10 per package, and annual fixed costs are $540,000 for the entire year. The question also says that there are 2 seasons. There's a holiday season and a non-holiday season. The holiday season is 4 months, and the non-holiday season is 8 months. Vern's orders the same amount throughout the whole year, so if Vern's orders 45,000 packages per year, divide that by 12 to get its monthly order. And it says that Megastores only orders during the holiday season, so it'll only, even though it ordered 15,000 for the year, you just divide that 15,000 by the 4 months of the holiday season. And then it wants us to calculate the product cost for each season with excess capacity costs assigned to the season in which it is incurred. Alright, so we have a lot of information here that we need to deal with. First, there's a 90,000 capacity that was mentioned, but we only produced 60,000 actual, so that means that we have 30,000 excess capacity. Okay, we could have produced an additional 30,000 packages, but we didn't. Now, why is that? The question tells us that we can't make inventory because this chocolate is gourmet and it expires within a couple of days. So we can't make we can't build up inventory with our excess capacity. So it looks like we have to buy that we needed extra equipment to be able to meet the demands for the holiday season, because the question tells us that during the holiday season we're able to produce 7,500 per month, and we do produce 7,500 per month, and we sell all 7,500. So during the holiday season, we make all of our sales that we can, and then in the non-holiday season, unfortunately, we can't just not incur the cost of those equipment that we bought. So during the non-holiday season, it's a little bit slower, and the machines will just sit there. And we're not going to be able to use them because even if we do use them and we create more chocolate, there's no demand for that extra chocolate in the non-holiday season. So we have 30,000 excess per year. It tells us that Vern's orders 45,000 packages a year. And if you divide that by 12, that means that Vern's orders $37.50 a month. And then for Mega, Mega orders 15,000 packages for the entire year, but it only orders it during the 4 holiday months. So we're going to divide 15,000 divided by 4, and we get the same amount, $37.50 per month, during the holiday season only. Alright. So Vern's gets $37.50 a month for all 12 months, and Mega also gets $37.50 a month, but only for the holiday season. And when it's non-holiday, Mega isn't buying any chocolates at all, so that would be 0 for the non-holiday season. But for the holiday season, if you do $37.50 plus $37.50, you get 7,500 packages per month for the holiday season, and that's actually the our capacity for the entire factory. We can make 7,500 packages. So if you multiply that by 4 months in the holiday season, you get 30,000 packages for the holiday season. Okay, and then for the non-holiday season, remember that Mega stores or Mega Mart, they're not buying anything, but Vern's is still buying. It's 3,750 a month, and we get 30,000 packs for the non-holiday season. Okay, so we're selling 30,000 packs in the holiday season and 30,000 packs in the non-holiday season. It seems like both seasons are exactly the same, but remember that the non-holiday season is an 8-month season and the holiday season is 4 months. So you're selling the same amount of packages, but in the holiday season it only takes you half the time to sell all those packages. All right. So now we can look at our question 5, part A. It says calculate the product cost with for each season with excess capacity cost assigned to the season in which it occurred. So that just means that whatever our annual costs are, just divide it by 12, and so in this case it was $540,000 for the annual cost. We divided that by 12. And that's where we got our $45,000 per month. All right, so if we're going to calculate the non-holiday season, non-holiday is 8 months. So 8 times 45,000 is $360,000 cost. And as we calculated earlier, we created 30,000 packages in the non-holiday season, so we get $12 a package. All right. But then we also have the $12 a package is for fixed cost. Remember, we have $10 of variable cost, so it's actually $22 a package. Okay, so again for the for part A, it says to assign excess capacity costs to the season in which it incurred. So that means that we're just going to take the 540,000, spread it throughout the year, and then divide it by the number of packages produced per season. And that gives us $22 a package for non-holiday. Okay, non-holiday again is 8 months out of the year, and it's $22 a package. Now for holiday, remember that it's still 45,000 fixed cost a month. But holiday is only 4 months, so that's 180,000. And remember that we also created 30,000 packages in the holiday season. So if you do 180 divided by 30, you get $6 a package. But remember, you still have your $10 variable cost. So 6 plus $10 is $16 per package. Alright, so for the holiday season, it's $16 $16 a package. And that's part A. Now for part B says calculate the product cost for each season with excess capacity cost assigned to the season requiring it. So what does that mean? Remember that we have these, we've had to buy extra machinery, extra equipment in order to meet the demands of the holiday season, and then now the non-holiday season, it doesn't really need all that equipment, you know. So this approach is trying to be more fair. It's saying, hey, these machines are needed for the holiday season only, so it's not fair to allocate costs to the non-holiday season. So we're going to allocate these excess costs to the holiday season. All right. So the total cost was $540,000. Right, and that was for 90,000 packages capacity, right? But really, we don't need all 90,000 capacity because we only sell 60,000. So what is the cost that we're really going to have here? And here you can cross multiply and divide. So if you do 60,000 times 540 divided by 90, you get the answer for X. So 60 times 540 divided by 90, you get $360,000 for X. So if you do 540, which is your total cost, minus the 360 that you actually used, you get your 180 excess capacity. Okay, hopefully this is bringing you back to your algebra classes from 7th grade. This is cross multiplying and dividing. But anyway, so for B, excess capacity is $180,000, and the question wants us to allocate that excess capacity to the holiday season. So what we're going to do is first for the non-holiday season. Remember we calculated that there was 360,000 cost. Remember, because it was 45,000 a month times 8 months, and that gave us $360,000. But according to B, we don't want to allocate any of this 180,000 extra costs to non-holiday, so we're going to subtract that. So it's going to be 360K minus 180K, and that gives us 180K. And then we divide that by the 30,000 packages, and that gives us $6 a package. Okay, and then we still have to add our $10 in variable cost, and that gives us $16 per package. So the numbers are flip-flopped here. So for Part B, non-holiday, is $16 a package. Remember, in Part A, it was the holiday season that got $16 a package. And then for Part B, the holiday we calculated that it was 45,000 a month times 4 months. That's 180,000. Remember that from Part A. And then we're going to add in that 180,000 excess capacity costs. So that's going to give us $360,000. Divide that by the 30,000 in the 30,000 packages that were created and sold in the holiday season, and we're going to get $12 a package. Alright, and then we add the $10 variable cost, and we have $22 a package. So again, these numbers flip-flopped. The holiday season for Part B is gets $22 per package, but in Part A it was the non-holiday season they got $22 a package. So as you can see, depending on the methodology and the practice of the management in a certain corporation or company, the numbers can change a lot depending on however they choose to allocate these costs. It makes sense both ways. You know, the Part A was easier because you just take your $45,000 cost per month and then divide it by the number of packages in the season, which made sense. Part B takes a little bit more work because you're moving around some of the costs from a month where it was incurred to a month where it was intended or is the reason for the increase. So so again, one way might be simpler, but the other way might be a little bit more accurate. Alright, question number 6. iPort Products makes cases for portable music players. They have 2 processes, cutting and sewing. The cutting process has a capacity of 150,000 units a year. Sewing has a capacity of 180,000 units per year. So that seems a little bit strange that you'd have so much capacity for sewing, where although you always have to go through the cutting process first, and cutting only has a capacity of 150. The question gives us inspection and testing costs of 90,000, and then scrap costs, all from the cutting department, of 195. You sell the cases for $20 a case, and everything that you make, you're able to sell because demand is very strong. The company can only start 150,000 units because, as I said, the music player cases start in the cutting department, and that's the capacity for the cutting department. Defective units are detected in the cutting department, and then any defective units are scrapped. Looks like 22,500 units are scrapped out of 150,000, so that's quite a big chunk of scrap materials. The unit cost in the cutting department is $13 a unit. There's fixed costs of 900,000, and these fixed costs are allocated to both good and defective units. The next paragraph says that the good units are then sent to the sewing department. Sewing department has variable cost of $3 per unit and fixed manufacturing cost of $75,000 per year. There's no scrap in the sewing department, so looks like the sewing department is very, very efficient. So whatever gets into the sewing department is sold. And let's see what else. The question says that you have a new type of material that would reduce scrap in the cutting department to 7,500 units. So scrap right now is 22,500. You could reduce that to 7,500. So that seems like a good thing so far. However, the new material is very expensive. It would increase direct materials costs to $7.25 per unit for all 150,000 units. So the question wants us to calculate the profit under each alternative. Inspection and testing costs will fall by 30,000 with the new materials. Fixed costs will remain the same. So the question tells us that we're making 150,000 units under the current material. 22,500 are scrapped. So that gives us 127,500 good units. Okay, under the current material. Okay, and if you sell that for $20 a piece, that's $2,550,000 in sales revenue. All right, and then we're going to have materials cost, variable cutting manufacturing cost. The first thing is going to be materials, so variable cutting the first thing is materials, and that's 150,000 units that we're making times $5 for the current material. And the $5 comes from the fact pattern, and so that's going to be $750,000. And then for other variable costs, other variable is $2 times 150,000 units. And that's $300,000. Fixed cutting manufacturing cost. The question tells us that that's going to be $900,000 per year to units. All right, and then we have variable selling costs. And that's going to be $3 per unit. But yeah, it's not 150,000 units, because for selling costs, you're just going to incur the cost for the ones that make it into the selling department or the selling process, and that's going to be 127,500. because remember those are the amount. That's the amount of good units that make it to the sewing department. So $3 times 127.5, you're gonna get 382,500. Right, and then you have fixed sewing costs, which is $75,000. Right, and then finally you're going to have inspection costs, and that's $90,000, and that was also given to you in the fact pattern. So if you add, if you take your sales revenue of $2,550,000 and you subtract all of these costs, 750, 300, 900, 382.5, 75, and then 90, you get a profit of 52,500. Right, so using the current materials, you have a profit of 52,500. Now, what about the new materials? The new materials, under the new materials, you're still going to start 150,000 units, but you're not going to scrap 22,000. You're only going to scrap 7,500. So if you take 150,000 and you only have to scrap 7,500, then you have 142,500 units that are good. All right, and then if you multiply that by $20, your sales is going to be $2,850,000. So the current materials, the sales was $2,550,000. The new materials is your sales are going to be $2,850,000. So you're increasing your sales by $300,000. So right off the bat, it looks like it's a good thing. But then the very next thing you have to calculate is the variable cutting manufacturing costs. So remember, under the current materials, it was $5 per unit for the current materials, but for the new materials, it goes up to $7.25. So for variable cutting manufacturing costs for materials, remember that's $7 times not 725 times your 150,000 units, and that's going to be 1,087,500. So even though your sales went up by 300,000, your materials went up by more than 300,000. Because remember, for current materials, your materials was only 750. Now it's 1,087,500. So that's more than $300,000 of an increase. So far, it looks like we should stick with the current materials. But let's keep going with the rest of the problem. Your other variable materials, that's going to stay the same. It's we're going to still do 150,000 times $2, and that gives us $300,000. Our fixed cutting manufacturing cost The question says that stays the same, so that's going to be $900,000. Our variable sewing cost, that's going to be a little bit different. It's still your $3 rate, but instead of having 127,500 units to sew, you have 142.5 because you have more good units. So your variable sewing cost is going to go up too. So instead of last time it was or using current materials, it was 382.5. Now it's 427.5. So far things aren't looking good to switch to this new material, because your sales revenue went up, but your materials went up even more than that, more than 300,000, and then your variable sewing costs also went up. Your fixed sewing costs stayed the same. And that was 75,000. Now, it did say that for inspection and testing, since you're using better materials, your inspection and testing actually went down. It was 90,000, but now it's only 60,000. So you're saving a little bit of money there. So here you add everything up. Also, you take your $2,850,000 in sales revenue. So you subtract your materials, your variable costs, your fixed cost, your variable sewing cost, and your fixed sewing cost, and your new inspection and testing costs. And what you come out with is a profit of 0. So that's not a wise decision to switch to the better product. So the better product has less scrap because it's better, but it's more expensive, and it ultimately reduces your profit, your bottom line. So ceteris paribus, just by looking at this this calculation, your answer for B, should iPort use the new material and improve quality? The answer should be no, because you're not making any money from using this this new material. Now, in the real world, hopefully, if you're using new material, you find a way to spread that message to your customers that they're getting a better product, and then hopefully they'll tolerate the higher sales price. So in the real world, I mean, there are ways that this could work, but in this situation, the question said your sales price is going to be the same whether you use the current materials or the better materials. So you're not going to get any more revenue per unit. So you're going to stick with a $20 sales price. You're going to sell a few more units because you have more good units, but the sales price is going to stay the same. And then you're going to have some savings in costs, but not much, and you're going to have some much higher increases in costs for the new materials. So the answer to B is no. All right. So that was question 6. That was the last question on the homework. Next chapter is chapter 11, and that'll be the last chapter. We're gonna have a lecture and a homework to do on chapter 11, but it's not going to be on the final exam. All right, the final exam is going to include chapters 9 and 10, not 11. Now, I do want you to give as much effort to chapter 11 as you have been giving in the prior chapters, because all of these topics build upon each other, and learning chapter 11 well won't hurt you. It'll actually help you with the test anyway. We're just not testing that material directly. All right, and if you have any questions, feel free to shoot me